Cue the ducks.
All right, tasting notes with Bo Barrett. This is Cabernet.
Hi, I'm Bo Barrett at Chateau Montelena. You've probably heard this, but the mark of a great red wine is that it improves with age. And that's what we're here to talk about today, is aging red wines, Cabernet Sauvignon in particular. When we started Chateau Montelena in 1972, there was no local lore or legend of what were the great vineyards here. We had to figure it out as we went along. And to make our wines as good as we possibly could, we modeled them after the great wines of Bordeaux. And to this day, right now, we still think that the French wines set the mark, that set our standard back in '72, and that's what we make to today. We still want to make great Cabernets that age a long, long time. So the thing about aging red wine, in California, we have such great weather and so much sunlight and the cool nights, and we really make wines that are really loaded with lots of heaps of fresh fruit. And red wines are really strong antioxidants, so it can age a long, long time without us having to really manipulate the wine that much. So what happens is that when you have the Cabernet and a young wine like the 2017, it's going to be really so Napa Valley, so Calistoga, so Montelena. It's just this like intense, bright fruit. But the soils that really make a great wine, and the terroir, as people say, the site-specific flavors of each individual great wine really have to come out over time. Because in Napa, the difference between Calistoga and Stag's Leap, for example, really are difficult to tell when the wine's very young, because they're really just grapey, jammy Napa Valley Cabernets. But over time, the fruit goes down slowly over time, and then the individual characteristics of that specific vineyard site tend to show better, whether it's minerality or super cold days, or grown in the shade or grown in the sunlight. So that's part of the magic of aging red wine, is it really tells you more of the story of the place if you can give it some time. So our 2017, I'll pour a little bit of this here. We're actually in the vineyard right now filming this, and we just finished the 2021 harvest. We're very excited because we didn't get to make any wine last year. But anyway, the 2017, man, it's just like really strong Cabernet fruit. Berry is the big driver, just like big bowl of berries. And then, the good Cabernet aromas, really rich and ripe. And on the palate, it just has this boom, brilliance of really strong fruit flavors. And then right about now, I'm starting to get some of the oak and some of the wood and some of the hand of man in the wine. But in general, it's really driven by and Americans really like this a lot, and it's really made Napa Valley super famous because our Cabernets are so luscious and great that you can drink them when they're young. Really a brilliant Cabernet, really big one, but really soft and round on the palate, and then has great persistence of flavors, and the fruit goes all the way to the aftertaste. And it's only now that I'm starting to get a little bit of the dust or the stones out of the minerality of the vineyard. When we have something like the 2007, another great vintage for us here in Napa Valley, we take the 2007, this wine's got, this is grizzled veteran too. And now it smells, smells warmer. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's definitely not as brilliant, bright, fresh fruit, but has this really tonal complexity that is really, really enjoyable. It definitely has more minerals in it, like the volcanic soil, the cedar. It's really amazing. And on the palate, it takes a little bit longer on your palate to develop, and it starts expanding into this more complex nature where you can really taste the minerality of the soil, but it really has this much more, I would say, elegant characteristic, where it's just more almost sophisticated. For a guy like me, sophisticated is a hard thing to do. Actually, it's like more vinous. It's more like wine, like really rich and tasty, and it has this warmth, kind of just rolls across the palate rather than the super bright fresh fruit here that just kind of sits on top and explodes in your mouth. This one's kind of in layers. It's really cool. Yeah, big bowl of berries, you know. Where's the blackberries? And this is just like straight up great Cabernet. It's a really interesting thing to see. So this is my 50th vintage, you know, my family's 50th vintage owning the winery. So we have, you know, 45, 46-year-old Cabernet. So where's the sweet spot? That is a good question. If you make the wine properly and you get it, and luckily in the old days especially, you get a good cork. Red wine's gonna age forever if they're made properly. You get the acid, alcohol, pH put together right, they'll age a long, long time because the red wines here are so full of tannin, again, back to the antioxidant. So the sweet spot, what Montelena wines do, it's quite fascinating that they'll get to about this 10-year-old or 12-year-old phase, and they actually go into what I like to call it a stationary orbit, where they don't change anymore, they just sit there. Once the fruit is dropped off, and the inherent characteristic of that wine, that vineyard, and especially that year start to dominate the wine, it just stays there for a long time. So we could have out here the 1997, and it would probably be about the same intensity if the fresh fruit is gone, but all that great, you know, vineyard characteristic is still there. And we could go back to the 87 even. So our wines, they really do age an amazing long time. So the sweet spot on them is I personally, when I get, you know, my employee allocation of our 6 bottles, I'll drink 1 or 2 the first year when it's that bright fruit. And then because I got a lot of our wine, so I'll actually wait, you know, 5 years and drink 1 and then 10. So when they're about 10 years old, I check them and I see, you know, how long they're holding up. So, you know, it's kind of like, what do you like? You know, do you like them, you know, still fruity? Then you're gonna go at about 10 years. But if you like them really elegant and rich and opulent, then you're gonna wanna work in, you know, the 15 to 20 year range. So I hope that you can figure it out. Start drinking aged wines, look for them. It's totally worth spending your time to learn about, you know, aged wines. It's a part of the magic of winemaking.